All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Ann Meyer. I'm the high school principal, and we're so happy to have you join us this evening to welcome you to the high school, to share some information about the high school, and maybe to answer some of your initial questions that you might have. I see some names that I recognize, so maybe this is not your first child going through the high school, and others I don't. So I know we have a range of individuals with different experiences and different knowledge levels. So we're going to go over the basics, and you are always welcome to reach out to your child's guidance counselor, who you will be meeting in the next month or so, with any additional questions that are more specific to your child. This is more of a general overview. I am recording this and we will be sharing it tomorrow morning, so you'll be able to go back to it, and anyone who's not able to attend will also be able to view it. I'm just going to get started by sharing my screen, and then I will tell you a little bit about myself. Again, welcome to the high school. This is an exciting meeting, and my name is Ann Meyer. I'm the high school principal, and just to give you a little bit of info about me, this is my 10th year as the high school principal, so next year will be my 11th. And prior to being the principal in Bronxville, I actually taught for 6 years in Bronxville, and my background is science and math. So I taught biology, chemistry, AP Bio, AP Environmental, Bio 2. For a little while, I taught core physics because we needed someone to jump in. And so very familiar with the science curriculum, also the math curriculum. I minored in math in college and have, like I said, been the principal for quite some time. And this is an exciting evening to welcome you all. And we are also looking forward to welcoming your children into the high school. I also have 2 children of my own. My daughter's in 9th grade, so I'm going through my first daughter being in high school, and it is quite an experience. And so I can relate to parents who maybe are a little worried, maybe don't have all the information right away. We're here to reassure you and give you everything that you need. I also have a 7th grade son, and I am breathing deeply right now, I told Aaron, because right before this meeting, my son walked through the house in his baseball cleats and left a trail of mud in my house before he left for baseball practice. So those are my 2 kids, so I can relate to a middle schooler and a high schooler. And we're gonna get started right now in terms of giving you some general information, mostly about courses, but also about how we help transition freshmen into the high school so that they can have a great experience. So I am going to turn it over to Aaron at this point, and I will be speaking in a little bit.
Thanks, Ann. I don't have as impressive as a resume as Ann, but I've been here in Bronxville for 7 years. This is my 3rd year as the director of counseling. The previous 4, I was one of the high school counselors. And prior to that, I was a school counselor at the Bronx High School of Science. So I am quite familiar with the drive and aspirations of our students. We look forward to welcoming them to the high school. We have a robust, amazing counseling department, which I think Ann's going to show you just some of what we do throughout the 4 years in just a moment. I did also just want to make a quick mention. So we are in the process of hiring another school counselor in the high school, or I should say in the district. That individual is going to be the counselor for all of 9th grade, in addition to 5th grade, but we're going to focus on 9th grade. So the email that you receive tomorrow from one of the high school counselors, either myself, Deanna Hassan-Jakai, Alyssa Levy, or Tanya Fridovich, is going to be to meet with them about your student's schedule for 9th grade, and that individual will be their counselor starting in 10th grade. So one dedicated counselor to 9th grade, and the person you meet with next month will be their counselor in grades 10, 11, and 12. And I'm really looking forward to this new position because, as you're going to hear from Ann and some of our The structure of the high school, one person getting to know the ninth graders is going to be amazing, both for the students and for you, and just for long-term success throughout high school. But just a little bit about our services in the counseling department, and maybe you can click that. We meet with students throughout all 5 years, frankly, starting with 8th grade. So last week, the high school counselors met with the 8th graders in advisory. We had some current 9th graders speak to them about sort of the transition to high school and what to expect in terms of, courses and clubs and ways to get involved. And then just today, the school counselors met with them again in advisory just to follow up with any lingering questions they may have had. We went over some of the sort of courses they can expect to take, which you're going to hear about shortly. We covered the graduation requirements, which you're also going to hear about. But just again, just another opportunity to kind of see us, hear about high school life in preparation for our first meeting, which will happen sometime in the month of April or early May. And then again in 9th grade, there's an early meeting for 9th grade students and parents in September. And then throughout the year, we continue to meet with our 9th graders, both through this freshman transition program, which you'll hear more about on the next slide, but also just individually and in small groups. And again, with this addition of the new counselor, there's going to be even more and more FaceTime with the counseling department and with the students, and by default also with you as parents. And then obviously in grades 10, 11, and 12, it becomes a little bit more about course selection and college and post-high school planning. And the dedicated staff to grades 10, 11, and 12 have been doing all of those pieces of our role for quite some time. And I only anticipate those programs and services to continue to balloon over the next few years as we integrate this new faculty member into the district and continue to build on the success we have with our upperclassmen. So I referenced the freshman transition program. And this is just like become such an amazing program. So we've gone through a few iterations of this program over the past few years. Coming out of COVID, a lot of it was online. Obviously, we've moved away from that and everything is happening in person. We've learned from COVID, from our students, that connection to their classmates is the number one sort of want of theirs. And so we've really sort of worked this program through that lens and attempted to build connection and community throughout the high school. So in grades 9 through 12. And the way that we've done that is what was historically once a senior program meeting with students is now juniors and seniors. And what historically has been something that's really taken away from academic time for good reasons is now taking place in our Health 9 curriculum, which you'll hear more about from Ann in a little bit, and also during X Block, which is an extended lunch period that the students in high school have twice a week. And we're really designing content that is primarily student driven. So in the past, there was a lot of counselors suggesting to the seniors about what to talk about with the 9th graders. And now it's the students suggesting to the counselors what they're going to talk about with the 9th graders. And it's been a huge success. We're obviously helping them with the transition for social life, for study skills, for, joining clubs, but we're also doing a lot of just like team building events. We took them to Boundless Adventure at the start of the year. We had this really fun gingerbread house decorating competition during November and December. At one point, we did have a gift wrapping event as well in December. And actually, I think just tomorrow, we are taking the entire 9th grade and our junior and senior leaders to go see a movie. And again, just building connection with their classmates, having fun, and not making it about classes or post-high school planning or grades or any of those things that tend to give our students concern, if you will. I think you can move on. So I referenced before in September, there's an early event for you all to attend. We have an activities fair, and simultaneously, we will have a presentation to you as ninth grade parents. And this is really, again, like second week of school, bring all the ninth graders into the school, have them see what extracurricular offerings are happening throughout the school day, and get them involved from day one. School clubs meet during the lunch period that I spoke about, that X block, or just on any other day of the week during lunch. Anne does a great job of sending out weekly bulletins, letting both you as parents and students know what clubs are meeting when. This activities fair is really just the first opportunity for students to find out what clubs are offered, get into their Google Classroom or put their email down so they can be on their email list and hear from the club presidents themselves when activities are happening. But we like to do this early because we know our students are really excited about joining high school, and we want them to be a part of school clubs and feel welcome in the high school community. The other thing that is worth mentioning, although not very exciting per se, are just some diploma requirements. You can anticipate English and history being a requirement every year. Math and science, as you can see, is only required for 3 years. However, the vast majority of high school students take all 4 of those classes for 4 years: English, history, math, and science. I know some middle school students haven't had a chance to take a language class yet. They most definitely will in high school. The state of New York only requires 1 year of language. However, we can tell you that, 65% of our student body takes 4 years of a language. The other 35% probably have taken multiple years and just decided, whether that be in junior year or possibly senior year, to take some of the elective courses, which you'll hear about from Anne in a little bit, which continue to grow by the year and frankly continue to become cooler and cooler each year, between robotics and entrepreneurship and our computer science offerings. Bronx River Research. Anne will sort of share with those. Everybody is going to take health in ninth grade. We have a ninth grade health curriculum, which Anne is going to elaborate on. And then specifically in ninth grade, we encourage our students to take some type of art, music, or theater course, which is a requirement. In particular, if it's not a course or a discipline that students are going to continue on for 4 years, it's nice to sort of get that out of the way pretty early so they can open up their schedule and take more classes that they're interested in. There are a number of offerings in all of those departments, which, again, you'll hear about towards the end of the slides. And then lastly, everybody takes physical education every semester of every year. And they are allowed to opt out of phys ed as when they're a junior and or senior, as long as they're playing a school sport. So you can opt out of phys ed when you're in season of that sport.
3 out of 4 quarters total if you play 3 sports.
3 out of 4 quarters. And then the other requirement that exists in addition to the 22 credits for graduation are some of the Regents exams. I think they're on the next slide. It starts with math, or I'm going to start with math, and I'm going to mention math because there are a number of students in 8th grade that are taking Algebra 1 that will sit for this Algebra Regents in June. That is a high school graduation requirement. Obviously, all of these exams need to be passed. And so at the completion of each course is more or less when these exams are offered. So after taking a year of Algebra 1, or the 2-year sequence of Algebra 1, which we'll hear about in a minute, you'll take the math Regents. The students take the English Regents in January of their junior year. You can read all of this. Science varies, but tends to be either 9th grade for some students that are going to take the living environment class, which Anne will elaborate on, or in 11th grade for students that choose to take chemistry and physics in 9th grade. The history courses are in 10th and 11th. And And so between the 22 credits and the 5 Regents exams, that is the composition of a graduate in the state of New York. This is not very exciting, but the courses that you take along the way very much are. And I think with that, Anne will sort of dive into what you can expect from each academic department.
Thanks, Aaron. So I think one of the main themes in high school is that there's a lot more choice for your child, and there is an increasing amount of freedom and need for them to manage their time. So as far as preparing yourself for high school, just realize that your child may have free periods. They may have a long lunch. Like Aaron said, we do something called X Block twice a week when a lot of clubs meet. It's an hour-and-a-half lunch. And they're also going to have a lot of choices for courses, and I'll briefly review them now. 9th grade has the least amount of choice, but by the time you get to junior and senior year, you have a lot of options and ways to explore their interests, and also ways to advance their courses of study based on what they're interested in. So don't be surprised that your child is going to have to learn how to manage their time independently. We do that on purpose because obviously at college, that's a key skill. So this is something also the counselors are more than happy to work with your child on if they're struggling with that. This is it's sort of a sample high school schedule. And what you'll notice in the high school is we have something called block scheduling. So we have 4 blocks a day: AB block, C block, D block, and EF block. Those are 80 minutes long. And your child essentially goes to class, a particular class, every other day. So they have half their classes each day. This is really a model schedule that most high schools are moving towards because it lowers stress and anxiety of high school students and provides them more time to complete their homework. So you can imagine if you have world language AB block on day 1 and you get homework, we recommend you do it that night so you can come to extra help the morning after if you have any questions, because we have extra help every day, just like middle school. And then you still have another day to get things done before you have world language again. So this is another example of a student learning how to manage their time effectively. So it's important that you, and I'm realizing the slide is wrong, Aaron, I made edits to my slide and this is not the right slideshow. It's important that you understand that. So this is sort of a draft slide. Tomorrow morning, I'll send you the updated slideshow. It's just a little bit of a tweak to it, which has not, health doesn't meet 80 minutes every other day. It actually meets 40 minutes twice a cycle. But I think where most of you are at in terms of understanding the schedule, it probably doesn't matter whether I tell you one or the other. And the main point is that we have block scheduling and that students have fewer classes each day to manage. And it makes for a very reasonable schedule. And they're able to manage their course load much better than having all their classes every day. We have a course catalog website that you can access, and I will put this in the link tomorrow morning when I send this recording out. It basically has videos about each course that's offered in the high school. We have descriptions about the courses, but last year we decided to add videos to give a little more life to the information about each course. So please, with your child, peruse the high school course catalog website, and that'll give you a nice idea of, in particular, some of the electives that we offer that you might be wondering about. So I'm going to go through some of the departments. And the first is math. So as far as math in the high school, there's a few different routes for math, and it really is going to be based on what you're taking right now, what your child is taking right now, how they're doing, and how they do if they're in the Algebra 1 course, how they do on the Regents. So we have one set of courses that next year would begin with geometry. We have another set that begin with what's called geometry honors, and a third set that begins with geotrig, which is accelerated. And what you can see in these three paths is actually all three end up in a calculus course. The course AP Calculus AB is the traditional trajectory is from GOH or Geometry Honors, and AP Calculus BC, which is the more difficult course. It is taken after this trajectory from GeoTrig in 9th grade. Just to give you a little bit of background, AP Calculus AB is like a half of a year of college calculus. AP Calculus BC is the equivalent of a full year of college calculus. You can see that we also have electives in the math department. We offer AP Stats, which is a great course. We offer semester-long Intro to Java Programming. We offer AP Computer Science A, which is a Java-based programming course. It's a course that's for students who are really interested in computer programming. The other computer science AP that we offer is called AP Computer Science Principles. That course is Python-based, if you're familiar with coding languages, and that course works on developing an app. So it is more conceptual and less actual programming. It's a little more drag and drop, and the programming is sort of behind the functionality of the app. And that's a course we recently added, but a lot of students take it because it's a great course. It gives you a good background in computer science. But if your child is interested in becoming a programmer, AP Comp Sci A is very important. So these are all the math offerings. As you can see, we have a lot of options. Just on this first slide, we offer 21 different AP courses. We offer like at least 20 electives. So your children are going to have a lot of choice in the high school to pursue what they're interested in. The science department has a unique program called the Core, which your child will take in 9th and 10th grade. In 9th grade, they'll study chemistry and physics over the course of the year, which are really the foundations of all science. I taught core biology and I've taught core chemistry at Bronxville. In 10th grade, they'll continue to bio and earth science. So by the end of 10th grade, your child will have been exposed to the 4 major fields of science. And after that, they can take a variety of different science courses. We offer what are called level 2 courses, which are year-long courses in bio, earth science, and chemistry when we have enough students who sign up for it. We have a environmental science course that we offer. It's a year-long elective, and then we offer a number of AP courses in the science department. So you can see here we have Chem, Bio, Environmental, AP Physics 1, and AP Physics 2. We also have some electives in the science department. Intro to Engineering is a semester elective. Robotics is a semester elective. Entrepreneurship 1 is a semester elective. Entrepreneurship 2 is a semester elective. And then we have a year-long course called Bronx River Research, which utilizes the Bronx River, and students developed an individual research project related to the river and conduct it over the course of the year. And some students do multiple years of research. We're very lucky. We have a teacher who teaches this course who himself is an ecological researcher. He does a lot with forest in New Hampshire in the summers, tracking moose. And he's also now a NASA educator. And through his work with NASA, he is doing research on the Hudson River estuary and its ability to store carbon and how climate change may impact that. So he's very experienced, great teacher. Bronx River Research is an amazing option for students who might be interested in science long-term. So once again, a lot of options. You're going to start in 9th grade with pretty standard things. Your 8th grade math is going to move into 9th. Science, you're going to take the core 9th grade. But all of these opportunities are open as you move into 10th, 11th, and 12th. Your child may take Intro to Engineering or Robotics as a freshman if they're interested and it fits in their schedule. English department, as Mr. Kind mentioned, 4 years of English are required. So English 9 and English 10, we have basically individual and then society. English 11 is American Lit, or your child may choose to take AP English Language. AP English Language is an amazing course. It's a course on rhetoric and argumentation. Does a lot with nonfiction texts and speeches. In 12th grade, you have English 12 or AP English Literature. And so that's more poetry and literature. And we offer a number of electives in the English department as well. We have acting and directing. Sometimes we offer play or screenwriting and speech and debate. Social studies is another department where you have to take 4 years to graduate. 9th grade, World History 1. That's what everyone's going to take. In 10th grade, you do have a choice to take World 2 or AP World that we offer. And 11th, US or AP US. And in 12th, you're required to take a semester of econ and a semester of political science, or we offer AP Econ, which is actually 2 semesters. It's micro and macro. And then we have a semester elective of psychology, or students take Bronco TV and they help develop the Bronco TV program that gets put out about every 2 weeks from our TV studio. That's a year-long elective. So again, 9th grade is going to be pretty standard, and then there's a number of choices. Language, your child has the opportunity to continue in the language that they're currently in, or to switch to another language. We don't always have enough students to offer some of the level 1 languages, but you can certainly ask your child's guidance counselor to sign up for that. We do offer Mandarin in the high school. It's through a online program. We partner with an organization in the state to be able to offer it, because we don't have enough students to have a faculty member, but our students have really enjoyed the Mandarin course if your child's interested in it. French, Latin, and Spanish go all the way up to AP by senior year if your child continues from middle school, because they'll enter into essentially level 2. And then they'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, and level 5 is AP. There's 2 semester electives in the world language department, which, Aaron, those are open to 9th graders, correct? Philosophy, which is a semester. Thank you. And mythology, which is a semester. Those are both taught in English. I mentioned a bit about performing arts. Your child may choose to, and we hope they do, choose to continue in orchestra, band, or chorus. We have an honors orchestra and an honors band that Ms. Karkala and Mr. Dell would be recommending your child for if they think that they're ready for that. A lot of our students, I just calculated it recently, I think we have about 30% of our student body who participate in orchestra, band, or chorus in the high school. And then I mentioned acting and directing and speech debate. You do have to take a full year of fine or performing arts to graduate in New York State. So these do fulfill that, including acting and directing. And then we have a very strong fine arts program in the high school. There's a sequence from Studio 1 through AP Studio Art. Last year, we actually had a student who scored a perfect score on the AP Art portfolio and exam, which I have never seen. He's an extraordinary artist who was actually a junior last year. He's a senior this year. We also offer AP Art History, which is an amazing course if your child is interested in history and art. Miss Allen teaches it. She's phenomenal. And then some semester electives that students maybe want to try or are interested in. Digital photo, computers and art, which this year, they actually decided to do some work around AI and AI's ability to create art, and the rights of artists to have their art used by AI to create art. So it's been a really interesting course this year. It adjusts based on student interest and obviously developments in the art world. Ceramics and also creative crafts are offered. a couple of things I want to mention that are also going on. I guess one in particular that I've emailed a bit about to the 8th grade parents. We had the opportunity through the support of the Bronxville Foundation this year to offer a group of 10th through 12th graders the opportunity to study artificial intelligence. This was done again through an online program and was taught by AI graduate students at Stanford, MIT, and Columbia. I hope to be able to offer that again next year, as well as an advanced AI course for the students who've taken this intro to AI. And we are offering a summer camp this summer for students at Bronxville. It'll be in person, which will cover that intro to AI. So if your child does do that and wants to continue into advanced AI, we definitely could make that happen. That course actually takes place during lunch twice a week for 45 minutes, just because it's the only time we could fit it. But the students in it have really enjoyed it, and they're learning the fundamentals of artificial intelligence, which I think we can all appreciate is important for everyone to be exposed to, regardless of what they go into. So I guess the main message here is there are a lot of opportunities for your child to take courses they may be interested in, take advanced courses that they're really enjoying and may want to study in college, try things out, continue their studies beyond maybe even what some of these courses allow, because we have a program called Independent Study where students can propose their own study with a faculty member to go in depth into a topic. So there's really a lot of opportunity in the high school in terms of the curriculum. What I would say is you need to work with your child and your guidance counselor to find a balance in the courses that your child takes, because it is intense and workloads can build up significantly. And we want our students to have time to be teenagers, to be with their friends, and to get sleep, which sometimes the students laugh at me when I say that, which is discouraging. So balance is key over the course of the 4 years. And the other thing I just want to mention is that we do build I build the schedule every year, and I build it based on student requests, but we are a small school relatively, and we offer a lot of options. So it is often the case that not all of your child's choices are going to fit in their schedule, just based on how the schedule ends up. And they may have to make some shifts from one elective to another, and make some choices because things might end up meeting at the same time. Your guidance counselor will guide you through that process. We're trying to maximize students' abilities to take what they're interested in, but we do have constraints, and they really are related to the size of our school. So at this point, I think we've gone over most of the introductory information that we hope is helpful, in that we're trying to share with you useful information. Your children are getting that. You will be meeting with your child and a guidance counselor in the next month to choose courses for next year. And then in the fall, we have a whole program to help transition them to the high school. You'll be invited in within the first week of school as well, so that we can answer any questions that are coming up. And we're basically here to answer your questions, help you navigate high school, help your child navigate high school successfully. And at that, I would say, if you have any questions, let us know. If it's specific to your child, it probably makes sense to wait for that guidance counselor meeting. But if you have a general question, we're happy to answer them right now. It was a lot of information.
I have a quick question. Looking
Sure.
at some of the classes that have been listed on the site, I see that classes have 1 credit or half a credit, but then the units associated with certain classes may be 12 or 24 or, a different number. So for example, as we're looking at multiple world languages, some of them carry a 24 unit weight. I'd like to understand, how is it that the weight is actually allocated to these? And, is there any flexibility to still allow, let's say, taking a couple of different world languages, which may end up eating a lot of the kind of units that a student is allowed
So this is a good question. To graduate high school, you need 22.5 credits. I think that might be what you're referring to. And most of our students earn many more than that. But each year-long course is 1 credit. And students have taken 2 languages sometimes, but that can be a little bit difficult to schedule. We do our best to make that happen. Did that answer your question? I'm not sure what the 24 credit.
Yeah,
I think he's.
Yeah, I think there's just a tactical issue when I go to the site and when we're looking to add up certain classes, it allows only so many. So if I add 2 languages and then the rest of the electives, it just does not allow me to add more classes.
Martin, I think you might be referring to Infinite Campus and those units there. I would disregard that and think about it from the perspective of how many blocks are in the day for a student to take class. So in an ideal world where all the courses a student picks fits together, which doesn't always happen, you could take 7 classes. English is always going to be a requirement. History is a requirement. Science and math are going to be requirements for 9th graders, as is 1 language class. So that's 5. So you, in theory, have 2 other full year classes or potentially 4 semester-long courses that a 9th grader or any student for that matter could choose from. So I wouldn't look at the units that you're seeing on Infinite Campus. I would just think of it as seven classes.
I think that's helpful. If we have any further issues, I think the challenges with languages is that it automatically gives you 24. So then if you breach the maximum, you may not be able to sign up, but that may be just a... Yeah,
that's just like how that system sort of, some like coding for that system, it doesn't necessarily relate to our actual schedule. So I would disregard that.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, so there's a question that I'll just answer in the chat about sort of in general, actually, middle school classes. So if you're in algebra right now, if your child's in algebra, that grade is that is a high school class, and that grade is going on their high school transcript.
Unless you retake algebra 1 in high school, if your child decide to do that.
Yeah, thank you. If you are in a language class, that class is also going on, that grade is also going on your child's high school transcript. At the same time, those grades do not get factored into their grade point average for high school. So the grades will appear, they will earn credit, a full year of credit for algebra, half a year of credit for Spanish 8, actually half a year of credit for Spanish 7 as well, but the grades will not get factored into their high school GPA. So everybody enters high school with the same GPA.
I see a question in the chat, and I'm sorry if the volume's an issue for anyone. I see a question in the chat about sports and student schedules. I mean, sports do happen after school, but in high school, they are a significant commitment. You have practices daily, and depending on the sport, you could have a couple of games a week. In the fall, in particular, it can be also quite busy with homecoming in the fall, because that week is quite busy, particularly for athletes, but also for all students. So sports take up quite a bit of time, but I can tell you that the majority of our students participate in sports, so they are able to manage that. And what we often find is that when a student is busy, they're more efficient and better organized. Now, I'm not saying overschedule your child, but being in sports and getting their work done actually does go hand in hand. And the other thing I would say is we find it's very healthy for their well-being for them to get a good amount of exercise daily. So sports are manageable, and I would say they're also a great way for students to make good friends with students in all grade levels. So, and we have relatively high participation rates given the size of our school. Living environment is an option for 9th graders. Usually the science teachers in 8th grade will give us a set of recommendations of students who might take, they would recommend would take living environment. Living environment is a year-long 9th grade course that gets one of the regents out of the way. We tend to have 15 or fewer students take living environment each year. The vast majority of students take the chem physics, but you can absolutely talk to your guidance counselor if you think living environment might be a better fit for your child. We don't really have the option to add another language because it doesn't just impact staffing for this year, it would impact staffing going forward. The only way we were able to add Mandarin was based on this online opportunity. But yeah, we're maxed out. We actually offer probably more world languages than a good number of schools our size. Most offer 2, we offer 3 plus Mandarin, so essentially 4. Other questions? So Aaron and I'll stay on maybe for a minute or two if anyone wants to stay and ask any questions. I'm going to stop the recording now. And it was really a pleasure to meet you all virtually, or at least your names in little boxes. We will be meeting you in person in the fall, and we're here. If anything comes up, no question is too small. Feel free to email us and we will get back to you.